Have you ever wondered what it's like living in Cologne, Germany? Well, I'd like to know too. So stay tuned to the end and we'll find out. Today, our special guest is Bryson Kelpe, and I will tell you a little bit about Bryson. My guest today made a leap that a lot of us dream about. He and his husband packed up their lives in Tennessee and moved to Cologne, Germany back in 2019. Bryson Kelpe grew up in East Tennessee, think Dollywood country, and is a second generation American who comes from a family with a serious case of wanderlust. His late grandfather loved to travel so much that after losing his own mother, Oma, pardon me if I get those wrong.
It's Omi Zofi. It's close
Okay,
enough, yeah.
thank you. He actually retired to Central America, and Bryson's husband's grandparents had the same spirit. So between the two of them, adventure was basically in the family DNA. After honeymooning in Germany in 2016, they kept coming back, making scouting trips to both Berlin and Cologne before his husband's work gave them the opening to make it permanent. They made the big move from Tennessee to Cologne in 2019. Why Germany and why Cologne? Bryson jokes with the locals that Switzerland was just too expensive. But beyond the laugh, they loved Cologne's location in Europe, the ease of travel, and how well connected it was to other cities. Since arriving, he's truly put down roots. In 2019, he competed in and won Mr. Baird Germany. Congratulations. And because of the pandemic, he held the title for a full 3 years. He'll tell you Cologne has a wonderfully warm bear community and he knows all the best spots. Coffee and cake at Cafe Whalen, drinks at the Barcelona bar or 3B bar. But here's what makes Bryson such a valuable voice for our conversation. He's a therapist with a private practice in Cologne. He did his master's with the University of Hertfordshire in the UK, then completed a 3-year postmaster's training as a systemic counselor and family therapist right there in Germany. He also holds additional UK training in cognitive behavioral therapy and postgraduate training in sex and relationship therapy. In his practice, he works with individuals, couples, and diverse relationship structures, helping people understand relationship patterns, improve communication, and build more fulfilling connections. He offers an affirming, non judgmental space to explore relationships, sexuality, identity, and personal growth. And he works a lot with expats and people in relationships with native English speakers. He has a genuine front row seat to what it really is like to build in a life in Germany as a foreigner. Bryson, welcome to the Where to Gays Retire podcast. It's so nice having you here today.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me.
Of course. So let's open and talk about the big picture. You moved to Cologne in 2019. What drew you there and really made you stay?
The people. Cologne is not a beautiful city. The cathedral here is beautiful. It's a UNESCO World Heritage. We have lots of museums, but really it's the people. Cologne is in the Rhineland of Germany. Culturally, it's very different. We have the fifth season of Carnival, like Mardi Gras for Americans, but it's a whole time of the year. And I mean, here you can make small talk with strangers. In other parts of Germany, they would just look at you like, what are you doing? Like, do I
Like a
know
New
you?
Yorker.
Yeah. They would. I mean, but like I mean, a New Yorker will just give you their opinion. They don't want small talk.
All right.
But in Cologne, they may give you their opinion, and maybe they want small talk, and it's totally normal. And people come here because it's more open. We have um, lots of gay LGBTQ plus cultural institution. You can walk here holding your partner's hand, and it's normal. Like I mean, it's just kind of you know. Today on my walk, I usually walk to the cathedral in the morning, and then in the evening, I counted 4 same sex couples holding hands.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just like on my 20-minute walk.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
great.
yeah.
So you're a therapist who works with expats adjusting to life in Germany. What themes keep coming up for people making that transition?
I think part of it is the expectation versus reality of people have expectations, but then when they get somewhere, the reality is different than their expectations, and that's kind of a universal theme in any move and in relationships. But in Germany, it's a little different because we're still the land of the fax machine. And I want to say up until maybe last year, you could still file your taxes through fax.
Wow.
It's still very acceptable here if you're having trouble getting an appointment with a government office to send them a fax. It's not a very digital country. Like in some ways it is, but in some ways it is not. And it's a lot of systems and processes that you have to navigate if you want to stay here like long term. And I mean that can be very difficult, like even opening a bank account. You're used to being able to go online, verify your identity, download the app, move some money. Now you have an account. And
And
then
poof.
you can even go to the credit union or the bank and they'll issue a card on the spot.
Hmm.
No, not in Germany. You'll get a card in the mail. Then after that, you'll get a card with a letter with a pin, and this is your temporary pin for the online account. Then you get another pin for the card later. So I mean, it's a lot of your expectations versus reality, and being okay and helping people be okay that things don't always go exactly.
As
But
planned.
but if you can have a good experience with it, you can still make friends, find connection, find community, despite all the crazy stuff of the
Gotcha.
the bureaucracy.
Gotcha. So, how would you describe Cologne to someone who's never heard of it? Sometimes people misconstrue and think Cologne is, oh, isn't that in France? How would you describe it if somebody never heard of it in like 3 words?
Gay village am Rhine, which means on the river Rhine. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's really a city of villages because it's different communities, different every neighborhood and communities kind of has a vibe, but
Hmm.
really it's a gay village on the river.
That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. So, who might thrive in Cologne and who might struggle type of person?
You're gonna struggle if you think it's always gonna go exactly as planned. If you think that, well, I followed the rules, this should be the way. I mean, it doesn't always work that way in Cologne. And then sometimes even the city doesn't follow the rules. Like the park right by our apartment, they took out all the park benches because of whatever. I guess because I'm just gonna be blunt and say because they don't like the homeless. But then they put new benches on the other street, the next street over, for people to sit in front of those cafes. And then people got upset and they brought the benches back. And then the other thing is the city would give like the I call them safety patrol, the codes enforcement. They would give businesses tickets for having too much outdoor seating, too many plants, and then they sent a note to all the businesses, the gastronomy, that it would be better if they don't have all these colors, that it was more neutral. But then the city spends taxpayer money building outdoor seating that's bright colors, putting outdoor planters to get rid of parking spaces to get it more pedestrian friendly. So it is just kind of funny. Like, the city does one thing, but then tells you another. You just got to be okay with that. That
Gotcha.
sometimes there's a lot of dichotomy here, that living in Cologne is very much living in that place of just being a little bit like, hey, the rules are this, but that's not how it's exactly working. You've just got to be okay with it. I think people who thrive here are people willing to adapt, people who are willing to be okay that things are different, people who are willing to join a club. In Germany, they call it a Verein. Um, and it's just a club. Like there's the club for anything you want, like outdoor hiking, gardening.
Bears.
Bears, there's two bear clubs in Cologne. There's the Cologne Bears that meet at Barcelona. There's another bear club. There's the Rhine Fetish for the fetish folks. I'm trying to think. There's sport clubs. There's SC Giannis, which is the sport club for the LGBT community that has their own gym and they have everything but rugby. And then there's a rugby club that has a gay rugby team, the Cologne Crushers. So before Corona and before injuries, my husband and I used to be on the Crushers and we played. But that was a great way to meet people.
Sure, that is.
And in Germany, if you want to meet people outside of your apartment or your language school, join a club. It's totally different than what you do in the States. It's really hard to meet people unless you find some way to connect. And
Mhm.
joining a club will let you connect.
Sounds great. Let's get a little bit into geography and city character, and then we'll go into climate. So, where is Cologne situated within Germany, and how does the Rhine River factor into daily?
So Cologne is in northwest Germany, but we're not the most northern state. I mean, there's more north above us, like Hamburg, Bremen, all that. So we're on the border, not on the border, but we're close enough to the border of Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg that you can get to Amsterdam like on the train in about 2.5 hours. You can take the Eurostar to Paris in about 3.5. And we're close to big cities, other big cities. We're close to Frankfurt by train, about an hour if you do the high speed, or Dusseldorf. So these are the cities that people may recognize. And we're north of like Koblenz and where people may be familiar, all the beautiful river castles. I mean, we do have some castles here in this area, but when people think, go on a Viking cruise and see the river castles, that's south of us.
It's not Cologne.
It's not Cologne. I mean, we do have a few river castles close, but like we're famous for the cathedral. We're a city on the Rhine River. The city was started by the Romans. I mean, it's an old city. The name
How?
means colony. It was the Roman colony to begin with. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How does Cologne compare, like in feel and culture, to Munich or Berlin?
So,
Like Berlin, I know is like
but oh,
it's kind of wild with
I don't want to say Berlin is just big. Berlin is a
yeah.
big, big city, and Berlin used to be several cities, and over 100 years or longer, it just the other cities got absorbed. So it still feels like different cities over there, but it's a very different culture. In Berlin, you can get away with not knowing any German a lot easier than you can Cologne. Berlin is an international city where people come there, they work, they never learn any German.
They party.
They party. I mean, people party here too. The Kit Kat Club comes to Cologne and does like a party. The Pfingsten, I think that's the weekend before Easter. Berlin is famous for their Easter Berlin weekend, their parties. We do have parties here in Cologne that you can go to. But so I think that's the cultural difference, but it's just a warmer, more,
What's the population in Cologne?
I want to
Do
say
you know?
around 1 million.
Okay.
But then we have all these other cities nearby, big populations. There's Dusseldorf,
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt's not too far. We have Essen, we have Aachen, which people go to see the famous throne that they used to use for the king and or the Holy Roman Emperor. And looking at Cologne versus Munich, Munich also got bombed in the war, but Munich rebuilt, and I call it Disney style. So they rebuilt everything to look the old way, but it's all fake. It got bombed too. Cologne got Cologne got bombed, but it looks like the concrete mafia. About 95% of the buildings, you're like, oh lordy, is it? What is this? It's just plain concrete buildings. I mean, they were really struggling in here to rebuild even in the 70s, and that they've never really went back to the old style of buildings, and they're okay. Um, Munich has a higher cost of living, and Munich is more, I don't know, it gives you, even though not all the industries are there, Munich gives me the feel of like you're in Manhattan, everyone's trying to be a banker and be the next big thing, or, like how much money do you make? Or, you know, I mean, it's very, but Cologne,
Cosmopolitan.
it is cosmopolitan, but it's also more traditional. It's like, oh, we speak proper German here, Bavarian, which
Oh,
is a dialect of German. But you do have U.S. military bases in Bavaria. So a lot of Americans, their experience with Bavaria is that they were stationed there, or maybe their parents were stationed in Bavaria or somewhere else in the South. There's a lot of military hotels, and I've known people who've retired to like Garmisch-Partenkirchen. It's very beautiful, but it's very, very small. It's like an hour from Munich. So when people think of Germany, they think of this Thomas Kincaid painting, and then that's not Cologne. We're a really friendly city, beautiful cathedral, great people. But even in winter, it doesn't look like Thomas Kincaid with the beautiful snow. We get gray and rain and cold.
and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but just to touch upon it, is it a walkable city
Yes,
or do you need a car?
it's walkable. Um, if you need a car, you can just rent a car for the day or by the hour. Like if you go to IKEA and you don't want to wait.
IKEA sells rents cars?
Well, IKEA rents cars here. Like you can lease a car through IKEA, but if you need a day car, you don't have to go to an agency like Hertz. You can do. There's a company called Flingster. There's a company called Miles. Play on the word Miles. That you can rent by the hour, by the day. So if you want to take a day trip in a car and not go to like the big car rental like Hertz
You
or
could probably just
Avis.
pick it up on the street
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what you do. You download the app,
with an app.
pick it up on the street, unlock it, and then you go.
That's pretty cool.
But for the most part, Cologne is very walkable. You can walk in your neighborhood. Um, there's good community public transportation. Um, it's I mean it's not perfect, but I mean like you
And it's easy to travel to other cities.
definitely. We
Okay.
are very well connected compared to living in most of the US. We're 2.5 hours by train to Amsterdam, 3.5 to Paris. You can take the train to London. There's the night train that goes to Vienna. But if you take the fast train, you can get to Koblenz, which is kind of where the Rhine and Mosel rivers meet to go to Castle Country. I mean, it's not called Castle Country, that's what I call it, and see all these castles and vineyards. And we're maybe 20 minutes from Dusseldorf by train, and then about 20 minutes from Bonn, which used to be the capital during the Cold War years that maybe people remember, like, oh, that was the capital of West Germany. I mean, so we're pretty well
Connected.
convenient and connected. And you can always take a Eurowings flight from Bonn Airport to go somewhere like Canary Islands, which I describe to Americans as like um, Kmart at Hawaii because it's kind of like going to Hawaii, but like Hawaii when it was cheaper.
Right. Got it.
So it's that kind of feel.
Yeah.
You can get a 99 euro flight from here to the Canary Islands.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's the climate like? Four seasons or
Yeah, it's 4 seasons. The summer here has gotten worse. I do use a air conditioner, which is not standard, in the bedroom at night to sleep in the summer.
yeah.
But most of the time it's pretty mild. Cologne, we don't have the extreme snowstorms of, southern Germany, Bavaria, or the north. We're not getting that. We do
But you
have
get snow, right?
not really. I mean, like in
No.
all the years I've lived here, it's just been like a little bit of snow. I mean, it's not like inches of snow. And
That's good.
it normally doesn't stick around. Usually it snows, maybe a day or two later, then it rains, and then it's just cold.
And outdoor life in the summer, it's like cafe culture or
Oh,
parks and cafe,
parks, cafes.
riverfront.
We have a wonderful riverfront. We have it's the Green Ring of Cologne. It connects the city after the after the war. They put a lot of the rubble there, and they just kind of planted over it. But it's a good park system. We have good parks on the outer ring of the city. There's a forest you can go to, Königs Forest, then Book Forest. So I mean, we are lucky with that. But then you're also close to the Eiffel National Park and other, pretty nice, bigger outdoor areas.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about cost of living in Cologne. Is Cologne expensive by German or European standards, or is it moderate?
I think it's moderate. I think food prices here are pretty low compared to the United States. Not just egg prices that got out of
Any place?
control. I mean, here eggs come in the pack of 5 or the pack of 10, and I'm paying for farm fresh eggs with happy chickens like €2.50 for a 10 pack.
Wow, that's incredible.
And then
Yesterday, here's an example. Yesterday, I went to Costco, and I don't think I've ever spent this much, but at the end of the Costco trip, $370. What did I buy?
I don't
Toilet
know.
paper, tissues.
So we don't have Walmart here. We used to have something close to Costco that we don't have anymore.
But you have Little, Idle, or
Lidl.
Lidl,
We have Lidl, we have Aldi, we have
Aldi.
Netto, and then we have Penny. And then we have it's more like going to Kroger and Albertsons is Rava. But some of them are really nice, and then those are the Ravas that are like going to a Wegmans for people who know Wegmans that are like
I do.
really nice. Okay, so and sometimes you'll find those the really nice Ravas that have like a sommelier and this and that. But then you have the ones like here in the city center that are more like going to a convenience store.
Gotcha. So,
And on Sunday, things are closed. So this is important. Buy your food if it's a Sunday. The grocery store's closed unless it's at the train station.
wow.
So that is a important
Yep.
living tip.
Yes. What would you think like you would spend on a weekly grocery shopping?
A lot less than the US. Like, I mean, like probably the most expensive thing I buy is Cola Zero. Like the Coke Zero. But like, I mean, like the sometimes the meat is more expensive than the US, but like a stuffed crust cheese pizza with pepperoni is €3.
So, you have any idea of what a weekly shopping
For
would cost?
probably like €60 maybe.
Wow.
Like I mean
That's pretty good.
it's significantly less, and then you can
Yeah.
really buy the store brand here and save money, or shop the discount stores like Netto, Lidl, Aldi, or Penny, and really save on your grocery budget.
Okay. How about what would a one bedroom rental cost per month in
If
town?
if you want furnished, you're looking at 1,200 to 2,000 a month for a furnished. And when they mean bedroom, it's like one. They'll usually do it as 2 room because Germany makes things complicated. So if it's a 2 room apartment, one of those rooms is your sleeping room, and then the other one is the living room.
Okay.
So you've got to be careful to see exactly when you look at a listing with, do they mean like for international people this is a 1 bedroom, or do they mean for a German this is a 1 bedroom, which for a lot of people, oh, that's a studio.
Right, right.
You know,
Gotcha. Gotcha. So what would you think a monthly budget for a retired couple realistically needing to live comfortably would be? Any idea?
without the cost of insurance, probably like 2,500, 3,000 euros a month would
It's
be
reasonable.
would be reasonable. If you live somewhere more modest, if you don't want to live in the exact city center, if you you know or buying if store brand versus the national brand.
Right.
I mean, it is those kind of decisions. Like,
Of course.
are you making your own coffee, or are you going to Starbucks every day? Because we have
Right.
Starbucks here, and it costs as much as the U.S. for smaller
Yeah.
portions.
And for me personally, if I was in another country, I would just go to a cafe, a local cafe, not a chain
Yeah,
like Starbucks.
the one I really like, it's called Schmelz and Bona, which means like melting and bean because he makes ice cream too. And his espresso is €1.50, and his doppio is €2.50. And I think that's reasonable because he really
Yeah, that's very
makes
reasonable.
I mean, I'm not going to get that at Starbucks.
Yeah. So groceries and dining compared to the US are, it sounds like it's substantially less.
Yeah, it is less. I went today to the store and I bought two Cola Zeros, a pack of like over a half kilogram of chicken breast, and two fresh burger patties, two frozen burger patties, and a pack of tomatoes, organic tomatoes. The organic tomatoes were a €1.70 for the pack,
Wow.
and all of that was 32 euros.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it would have been under 30 if I had not bought the Coke Zero, but that's my habit.
It's imported.
Yeah.
So would you say it's easy for foreigners to find and rent an apartment in Cologne?
I think it can be a little overwhelming. Like, you may
Do you have
be,
to hire a broker or something?
you may be better off getting established here with something like Wonderflats, or German it's Wunderflats, and it they're used to dealing with expats, and then from there look for your longer term accommodation. And just the way it works with here, that you have to register, and then you get your immigration status after you've registered, but you can't register until you find an apartment.
It's like a catch 22.
It is. So I mean, that can be difficult. In apartments in Cologne, the apartments that are under 1,500, under 1,200 a month, you probably have 2 or 300 other people applying for.
Right. Yeah, I would say the higher the prices, you have a better chance of getting.
Yeah, when I downsized apartments, any apartment that was under €1,000, 300 people would be looking at it, and they would only do the showings on Zoom. And then they would only pick the first maybe 5 people to show the apartment to in person. And so, I mean, it was hard. Like,
So it's competitive.
it is very competitive, but if you're willing to live on the outer ring of the city, it'll be less competitive, what I mean? And then there are good apartments that you can find here,
Mhm.
but but
It
it's not
might take.
easy. Yeah.
Okay. So getting back to, we touched a little bit about walkability and transportation. So realistically, so someone could survive in Cologne without a car.
Yes.
And could you walk to like the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and the shoemaker, the everything,
You
the
can.
doctor?
You can. Even if you don't live in the city center, if you live like in the Südstadt in the South City, or you live in the outer city in the community called Rodenkirchen, you can find very walkable neighborhoods where you can walk to everything. There's only one neighborhood in Cologne I know that is not very walkable because there's nothing there but villas. And it's the neighborhood where Tina Turner used to live. And they have one bakery, and that's it. So if you want to
That's
go
all you
to,
need.
well, the people who live in that neighborhood all have delivery of their groceries. So, but besides that one area, it's all very walkable. You can walk to the coffee shop, grocery store, butcher.
That's great. Do you have your own like central market? Like in Spain, they have these big central markets. Does Germany have that too?
So We have weekly markets, and then I really like there's one over by the Apostles Basilica. They do it on Friday and then another day, but on Friday you can get the best fried fish sandwiches, really, really good stuff. Weekly market, you can get eggs, lavender, cheese, meat, random stuff from Italy, any kind of sausage you want at the little weekly market. But most parts of the city, the little square, the plots, have a weekly market or at least twice a week that you can go to and get whatever.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit about LGBTQ life.
Hmm.
So Cologne is often called Germany's gay capital, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like in everyday life, not during just Pride
I think it
or
looks
Carnival?
yeah. I mean, there is a gay carnival club, which is amazing. It's the, what is their name? The Stuttgart Colonia Ahoy. And they do cultural things through the year. But gay life in Cologne is, it's here year round. I mean, there's gay sport club. There's the
Are there bars, gay bars?
yeah, there's bars. There's bars throughout the city. There's the Katwinkel bar in the northern-ish part of the city. And then there's two parts of the city that have a high concentration of gay bars. There's one called Schaffenstraße, and it has lots of gay bars, drag queen
Gay
bingo.
restaurants?
Yeah, gay restaurants, but then you'll have a lot of things that are just more gay friendly. Like the near us, there's the Era Cafe, and he's not necessarily a gay bar, but he's an older gay gentleman who has a restaurant and cafe.
Right. It's gay
Um,
friendly.
yeah, so I mean, you have that, and
So if it's the gay capital, it must be really gay friendly.
yeah, it is very gay friendly. I mean, even some of the places that I think just exist as money laundering fronts will host a drag brunch. I'm not going to name them, but I have my
No.
opinions of that
Yep.
that that, that that they're for money laundering. But even they're hosting a drag brunch, and then even the Hard Rock Cafe here will have drag brunch as well, which is kind of like, oh, the Hard Rock, look at that. And then there's other gay cultural organizations. There's the Gay History Association,
What's the Bermuda Triangle?
the Bermuda,
Have you heard of that in Cologne?
the Cologne Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. You mean the hot spots? Like, I mean, I guess that would be like going to Schaffenstrasse, um, which is there's all these bars right over there. But for me, I don't think that's the Bermuda Triangle. I just think that that's just Cologne.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna get lost there or abducted by aliens or. But there's a lot of well established bars. Like there's Champagne. Sounds like champagne.
Champagne.
Champagne, but it's been there over 30 years. So I mean you have all those bars right there. And then you have other bars close to the Heumarkt area, like Barcelona, Baustella, those gay bars, or
How do you think Cologne Pride compares to other Pride experiences or events?
well, it's here they view the pride as a protest, so that the parade is also a demonstration and it's political, so they've not lost that connection. But then there's the Pride Festival, which really kind of ends up being 2 weeks of events.
Party.
I mean, there's parties, there's the festival, there's musicians. They had someone who won Eurovision on the stage performing at Cologne Pride for free. There's other events and concerts you can go to, but then there's like movie and book festivals going on at the same time. Um, and then there's also the Cologne Bear Pride, which is usually in November at the start of the Christmas markets. And then they also do the Bears in May, which is another like bear festival. I think the Colonia Bears does that one, and they have different events. And it's not just parties. They'll go to the museum. They'll go to, I call it the go karts, but they don't call them go karts here. The little cars,
Hmm.
do
That's what I
those.
call them.
Yeah, they look like go-karts. They'll go to museums, different things. So I mean, you've got that part of pride as well. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot with the pride here that they do.
Is there an LGBTQ community for people that are not into the bar scene?
Yeah, I think so. There's different.
Meetup groups or
Yeah, there's different meetup groups.
oh, you said there were clubs, so
There's
club for everything.
clubs. Yeah, I mean, there's a club for everything. There's the International Cologne LGBT plus group, and we've done things like go to the museum together. Well, different museums together. We've went to networking for more business stuff. But then, the last time I went, most of the people there were retired and volunteering and wanting to meet other people in the community that want to volunteer for something like Cologne Pride. So,
Gotcha.
so yeah, and that I mean, there's different
Things
things
to
you
do
can
for
do.
everybody.
Yeah, but you have to get out and meet people.
Right. No one's going to be knocking on your door saying, "Oh, I heard you're gay. Come and make, come and meet me." So, getting into community and social life, is it easy to make friends as an English speaker in Cologne, or really, do you really need to know German? You're not gonna meet any of the locals if you don't speak German.
I think that's correct. I think that you're making friends in Germany with Germans is more limited if you do not speak German. Once you speak German, they'll take it more seriously because you put in the effort to learn the language and they think that you're going to stick around. If you never make an effort to learn German, most of your friends will probably be international
Expats,
people, expats, yeah,
people that know English.
people that know English. But I think if you put in the effort, you can make friends and make good connections with people.
Are they warm and welcoming, or are they more reserved?
I think Cologne, compared to other places in Germany, is warm and welcoming. But at the same time, you're not someone's friend here until you're their friend. Like it takes a while, but then once you're their friend, you're their friend. They'll help you move. They'll do whatever because you're their friend.
Okay, sounds good to me. How about dining in restaurants? So, one of my favorite subjects, of course, is food. So, what's the dining scene look like in Cologne? Is it mostly traditional German, or is there a variety? Is there international cuisine?
There's international, but most food here is okay. Like I'm not gonna lie, and most of the food is just okay. But I mean, there's some really good food here. Like there's Michelin star restaurants that are not crazy expensive. There's local restaurants. There's a lot of really good Italian restaurants, Turkish. We do have some good food here and good restaurants. You just have to know where to look. Every Thursday at Rudolfplatz here, there's a food truck market, and there's some really good food. There's local food that's really good. The Kolsch cuisine, like if you're open to try some of the like sausages, you can find some good stuff.
I was going to say, what is German cuisine like?
It
Like, what
depends on
type of foods?
it depends on where you're at. So here,
Schnitzels.
well, that's southern Germany and Bavaria, but they'll serve it here. Here, it's very much sausage, blood sausage. I'm trying to think. There's one
Beer.
thing, beer, but the beer here is different. Beer here is Kolsch, which is and served in a small glass, 0.2 liter. It's a very light beer. It's not like in
Hmm.
Bavaria where you
It's
get
not a
the
dark.
no, no.
Hmm.
That's other parts
Interesting.
of Germany.
Okay.
Here, if you go to eat at one of the brow houses, you're going to see stuff like Himmel and Ed, which is Himmel, which would be an apple. So an Ed for would be the earth, so that would be potato, and then it comes with a sausage, a blood sausage. And then there's the Haverhahn, which you think, oh, that's a half a chicken. Han means chicken. No, and it's a cheese sandwich. And then this part of Germany is famous for the Metwurst, which is the raw pork meat that they eat on a roll with like onions and a pickle. So I mean, it's very pork meat oriented, sausage oriented. But we do have an influx of Italian cuisine, Turkish cuisine. We have the famous doner kebab, it's like shawarma. And then we do have a lot of good Asian restaurants and good Asian grocery stores, Asian food. Some of the best Korean barbecue chicken I've ever had has been in Cologne. I mean, it's good. So there's some good stuff, and
Might
there's
have a cholesterol problem with the local food.
you may,
Okay. And there are certain neighborhoods known for their restaurants, right? Or culture, cafe
yeah,
culture.
yeah. But I mean, like, there's good restaurants all over the city. I mean, you can find really good stuff on both sides of the river. And I know in the inner city there's good stuff. On the Rhine near the cathedral, you'll get more touristic stuff. But even there, there's some good local restaurants where it's not the entire Viking River cruise eating there, watching a slideshow. You'll get a good local experience at some of the smaller places.
Do you have your main meal at lunch or dinner?
Usually at dinner is what I mean. Usually at lunch, like if you're a school kid, you just have like a piece of bread, broadside, with a piece of meat on it, and working, that's what you have. Usually, so it's a big supper, a big dinner is what you'll do.
So if I was going to an average restaurant,
hmm
I don't know, for dinner or something, what might that cost?
20-30 euros, depending on what you get and where you go. I mean, we do have steakhouses here. We do have stuff that I think is crazy overpriced, like some of the, like we do have Five Guys burgers here,
Ugh.
and they're also expensive here. But I think you can get away with a good meal, 20-30 euros or less.
That's good.
There's a lot of good lunch specials. An an Austrian restaurant, Der Tea Roller, that he has good lunch specials. I like his stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, like I remember in Spain, they have a menu del dia, so it's the menu of the day
Mhm.
for lunch, and that could be anywhere from 8 to 15 euro
Yeah,
for a
for yeah,
three
for
course meal and wine.
you won't get the wine, but you can get like a quiche and a salad for 8 to 15 euros lunch at a lot of places.
Sounds good to me. So, arts and culture.
Mhm.
What's Cologne's cultural life actually look like?
Well, I mean, outside of the carnival, which is a big thing here. I mean, there's the carnival music that even that they'll play at the symphony. So I mean
Wow.
so outside of the year-round carnival piece and the carnival music and dancing and singing, we have the opera house of never-ending construction. But I mean, we do have opera, we have musicals, we have tons of gay men's choruses here. We even have the Rainbow Symphony. Then we have the big symphony here. So I mean, if you want traditional cultural stuff, we have it here. We have theater. We have a couple of theaters that'll show older classic film or more artsy films.
Are they in English subtitles or are they in English or some movies in English with German subtitles?
If you want English, you need to look for the OVAC for original version. So
Okay.
so you'll find the movies that are dubbed, that you wouldn't expect to
So,
be dubbed, but then if it's OV, it's going to be the original.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely there's no, arts and culture is a big thing. It seems like in Cologne,
Yeah,
you can
and
pretty much do anything that you can here.
yeah, I mean, we have all the museums. We have the NS Documentation Museum, which documents the war crimes of the Nazis. We have the other end of the spectrum, the Chocolate Museum, if you just want to go somewhere and learn about chocolate.
That sounds good. Do they give free
Yeah,
samples?
they give you one sample at the end,
See, that's what I'm worried about.
just one sample at the end. And then we have all the art museums. So, I mean, we have a good mix of,
Yeah, it sounds very well rounded as far as arts and culture go. Crime and safety. Now, compared to the US, I always compare it to the US because US, of course, has guns illegal. Pretty much in the EU, they're not. And there's a safety factor. Like if I walk around the street somewhere in a city, I'm like looking over my shoulder and making sure nobody's, crazy around me. How do you feel in Cologne?
No, normally I think you're okay in Cologne. You may have some trouble if you are visibly Jewish. In
Really?
yeah. Um,
So
we
there's still anti-Semitic
yes.
happenings that happen
Yeah.
in
So
Germany?
yeah, and I'm not gonna like lie about it, but I mean it's in Germany we have three flavors of anti-Semitism. It's like your Neapolitan ice cream. We have your far right, your far left, and then we have religious
Dissenter.
anti-Semitism because of people's religious, cultural background. They just, you know. So I mean, if you may have trouble if you're visibly Jewish in Cologne, like
Wow.
with a kippah. I've seen people take a double take about when they see my Star of David before, you know. But as far as crime, big picture crime, I mean, it's pretty chill. Like I mean, it's not Memphis. Like
Right.
I'm just gonna
Right.
say, I'm just gonna compare it to Memphis, but it's pretty
Guns are
tame.
illegal, correct?
You can have a gun, but you have to have a reason. You have to have a safety class.
Permit.
You register, have a safe, and it's yeah,
It's more difficult.
yeah, it's more regulated.
That's good.
I mean,
It's like what it should be.
so but with here, if you hear something, last year there was a vandalism explosion at a clothing store, but it was organized crime. But I mean, normal everyday crime you don't really expect here in Cologne. You have more of the petty crime. Like
Okay. Okay. So pretty much crime and safety is, there's not too much crime going on in Cologne as compared to our US experiences.
yeah, it's I mean there's some, but it's pretty tame compared to what the US has.
Okay. Is there anything specific to LGBTQ residents that should be aware from a safety standpoint? Do LGBTQ residents are they the same?
I think in most of Cologne you're fine. Like I think in most of Cologne you won't have any trouble. Like, I mean there's some areas you might, but I mean that could be any city.
Any, yeah, wherever
Yeah.
you are. Okay, great. Let's talk a little bit about healthcare. That's a big topic, especially for expats getting older and retiring. That's the age where we need it the most. So, how does Germany's healthcare system work for a non EU expat resident?
So if you're working, and I can't remember the exact amount, and you make under, I think it's 48,000 euros, you qualify for the public insurance, and you still pay part of it, and your employer pays part of it. And you can pick one of the 100 or so public plans. So you do have some choice on who you pick. And then it comes out of your paycheck. And then if you quit working, then you have to pay the whole amount yourself.
How about, and we'll get into visas next, different types of visas.
Yeah.
So, is there a public and a private healthcare system in Germany?
Yes, there's public and private, and then you have the expats who are on, I call it super private, people who have like Feather or Blue Cross Blue Shield Global, or the people who have from the TRICARE and I can't remember exactly what kind of TRICARE, but if you have TRICARE, you know that there's an option for international, and if you have that one, you can use that to come and live in Germany. But here, if you have any kind of private, you pay up front, and then your insurance reimburses you. If you have
Gotcha.
public here, you just insert your card at the doctor, at the pharmacy, has a little chip in it, and that pays. With some pharmaceuticals, you have a copay, but it's like nothing compared to the US.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And are there enough English speaking doctors? So if you had to go to the doctor or a hospital, could they treat you
Yeah.
speaking English, or is that a problem?
I think it is a problem. The physician may speak English, but the people before you get to the physician may not speak English.
Like the receptionist
The
or nurse
reception, the
practitioner?
nurse, the here we don't have nurse practitioner. We just started having in the past 5, 10 years physician assistants.
Hmm.
But the physicians normally can speak English, but some don't. I mean, some studied French instead or another language. So you don't always have a good English speaking physician. So that sometimes can be an issue. Usually in a bigger city like
Understandable.
Cologne, you can find someone who at least the physician speaks English. Yeah.
Got it. And what would you say the quality of care is as compared to the US?
I think it's pretty good. I think sometimes it's waiting for a test. Like if you have public insurance, you're going to wait longer than the private for like your colonoscopy. But going to the emergency room when we played rugby, the emergency rooms here, are just as under the same kind of stress as in the US. But we saw the physician, got an x-ray, it was on the weekend, and it was 128 euros.
Okay.
And then we paid it, and then the insurance reimbursed us. Versus in the US, that'd be 2 or 3 thousand.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
So much cheaper and probably for the same kind of quality. Okay. That'll segue us into visas. So Germany doesn't have a formal retirement visa like
correct.
Spain does. So what's the realistic pathway for an American retiree?
Really, for the immigration authority, you need to show them you have a compelling reason to live here. And just saying you want to live in Germany is not the compelling reason they're going to look at. They're going to look at, a language school visa. You can go to language school, I forget, maybe I think 15, 18 months to take in a language class. There's new job seeker visa that's like a 2 year um, visa where you can either find a job or learn a profession or go to school for. And here, the public universities are pretty cheap, like 300 euros a semester. So maybe you want to do a part time degree here in something or study something. And they do have degrees that are just in English. But you
What happens
really
if I
need,
was a retiree?
you may want
Do
to
they have
come
the
over.
settlement, like the settlement
Yes.
visa?
So the settlement visa comes after you've lived here at least 5 years on another visa.
Okay.
But to get it, you can't just come here and immediately apply for it. You can start out on a language visa and then you have a job or some other kind of visa. Some of the areas of Germany will give you a visa for investing, not like Portugal or Spain with the gold or
The
Greece.
golden visa.
Yeah, they don't do that here. But there's some things about like if you start a business and you employ people, blah, 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 you can get a visa. But even if it's a part time job, that can be your compelling reason that you're working 2 days a week at wherever. So I mean, you can figure it out. I mean, if you really want to do it, there's ways to figure it out.
Yeah, I have some friends that are, I believe they're retired and they moved to Berlin or other parts of Germany. And I think they just had to prove amount of income that
Yes.
they have coming in from Social Security, pension,
Yes.
and
Though,
then they got their visa.
and then if you do, the US and Germany have an agreement with the Social Security. So if you do end up working here, you can have it combined if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Taxes. How do you file taxes? So let's say you're working, you have your own business. Do you
hmm
file German taxes first and then US?
Yes. So Germany is one of the countries with a tax agreement with the US. You do your German taxes first because the Germans have the higher tax rate, and then you can
Right.
have a credit for your US filing. I
Hmm.
mean, if you have a US citizenship, you're required to file no matter where you earn your money, but you don't necessarily have to pay. And then you do get credits. on the German taxes for paying things like insurance. So, or even like using a tax advisor to file. There's a little bit of a tax credit for using that person.
So normally speaking, since I'm thinking the tax rate in Germany is much higher than the US, so you pay your German taxes and get with all the tax credits that you get when you file your US, you probably don't owe anything in the
Yeah,
US. Is that correct?
th- that's correct. And then the cutoff for the double taxation right now, I think is 125,000 euros. So as long as you're under that amount with your income, including retirement income, you're not going to end up paying both.
Right. That's
But
yeah,
again, you would need to
that's a
talk
good thing.
to a German tax advisor
Tax it. Yeah.
who's familiar with expat taxes.
Right. And they probably can file either both sides or one side, and you might have to have two tax people, one in the US and one
Yeah,
in Germany. Okay. So we went over language and pretty much taxes. So to close, what are the honest trade-offs of living in Cologne versus the US?
I think in the US things are a lot more convenient, whether it be getting a driver's license or, you know, a lot of things like in the US, you're used to it being instant, like, go to the bank, open a bank account, you get your card right then, you get the PIN number right then. In Germany, it's more of a process. So, I mean, you're trading off that convenience for the experience of living here, but then you also have the convenience of going other places in Europe. You can, go pretend you're um, from The Sound of Music and go down to Salzburg in Austria. It's a lot more well connected here in this part of Europe than it is in a lot of the US. Like the state I grew up in, Tennessee, used to
Mhm.
have flights between the big cities direct, but now if you want to go to Memphis, you've got to go through Chicago to go to Knoxville. So there's no, like, I mean, it's kind of like, you either got to drive or it's a big ordeal, but here it's more connected. So there's some things that are less convenient, but there's some things that are more
More
connected.
convenient, like walkability too.
Well, yeah, walkability. The walkability is really good. Even in the newer parts of the city, newer developments of Cologne, they focus on the walkability.
So if somebody is deciding between Cologne and somewhere like Vienna, Amsterdam, or even a Spanish city, how does that how does Cologne compare?
I mean, the Spanish city. I mean, the weather will be the big difference.
Yeah.
Vienna is prettier than Cologne. I mean, I love Cologne. I like Vienna a lot. My great grandmother was from there, but I mean, Vienna is very beautiful, but they're more formal. Yeah, I think it's harder to get to know people in Vienna. And then I think the cost of living here is definitely lower than Amsterdam. It's much cheaper than the Netherlands.
Yeah. Okay. And has living here changed you in any unexpected ways?
Yeah, I think it's helped me lean into the uncomfortable and lean into new experiences. I did my psychotherapy training here in Germany in German, and that was a big experience of
You're
trying new
fluent, by the
things.
way, right?
I'm professional. I still, I'm not perfect. I still will take classes once a week to improve. I can do
Good for
therapy in
you.
German. I can do all my like daily living things in German, but definitely
Great.
living here has made me more okay with, you know, things not being routine. Things being here, we're supposed to have routines. Like on Tuesday, the cardboard gets picked up, but sometimes that doesn't happen, and it's okay. You'll figure it out.
So you get out of your comfort zone, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I think that that's a big part of it, like getting out of your comfort zone, trying new things, and being open to those possibilities.
And in one sentence, can you describe why live in Cologne?
I live in Cologne. Definitely the people. Like I definitely live in Cologne for the people and the community you'll make here.
And it's gay cap. It's a gay city.
It is the gay capital. It's the gay city.
And what's not to like?
and what's not like to like? I mean, it's you got everything from coffee and cake to people going to the big parties to the cruising bar to just regular bars.
Yeah, it has pretty much everything. Well, that's great. And thank you for sharing that with us. Where could people find you? Maybe they want to talk to you about your business, your therapy business. Where could they find you? Is there a place online that you have?
Yeah, they can find me online on Instagram. It's just Bryson Kelpe Therapy. My old website is bemindful.de, and my new website will be brysonkelpetherapy.com. I'm doing a .com because the .de throws people off.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Bryson. It's been very educational. I'm sure our audience is going to get a lot out of it. And yeah, I hope to with you very soon.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. Take care now.